came to pass. Kept the faith. I kept it. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of strength. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of money. But I kept down on my knees. I was still believing. Broke, I was believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you lose a spouse, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to downsize, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you have to wits in, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you have to dub, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you lose your kidneys, keep the faith. If you have heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a good.
Keep the faith. Somebody say keep the faith.
Jesus.
No matter what you lose.
Oh my God.
They can come and they can go. But no matter what you lose, no matter what you're going through, you keep the faith. Because we got a God who's a way maker, a promise keeper. He's a regulator of our lives, a manipulator that causes all things to work together for our good. Why? Because I love him and I want to be about his agenda. That's why I can give thanks in all things. Because my God, he is causing all things to work together for my good. Somebody say it's working. Say it's working. It's working together for my good. Oh, bless the Lord. Don't you give up on your hopes. And don't you give up on your dreams. I don't know what God has spoken to you. But don't you give up. Don't let go of your dreams. But some things that you're going to have to learn to let go, to let God.
That's true.
I'm telling you right now, you can't hold on to everything and then expect God to be a part of that. God said, I'm a jealous God. Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
I'll have no other gods before me. And sometimes we can make loved ones, and we can make jobs, we can make making money gods. God said, I'm not going to put up with it. I'm a jealous God. I'll have no other gods before me. He wants your whole heart. All or nothing. I know my wife ain't going to put up with no part-time mess. I want all of you or none of you.
That's right.
I ain't putting up with that.
All of you and none of you.
I ain't putting up with it. We need to make a commitment. And I'm not going to run through this thing because I think the Lord has really been ministering in this place today. And I just hope that you receive. The most important thing when you come to church is that you receive. You don't walk out of here and didn't receive nothing. And that's important, is that we receive. Calvin Coolidge, he said this: there's nothing in the world that can take the place of persistence. Did I give y'all my title for the subject today? No. Resist the urge to quit. My Lord. Resist the urge to quit. Amen. I think we're living in a time where people get an urge and they'll quit a job. They get an urge and they'll quit a relationship. Yeah. They get an urge and they'll just quit on the drop of a dime just because they got an urge and they can't persevere to the end. We've got to learn how to put up with some stuff. Yeah. What did we say earlier today? When the going gets rough, the tough gets going. Did I say it right that time? Yes, sir. Calvin Coolidge went on to say, there's nothing in the world that can take the place of persistence. Persistence. Talent would not. Nothing is more common than an unsuccessful man with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Only persistence and determination. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. That is a quote from Calvin Coolidge. It's interesting when I first read that quote from him that he used the word omnipotent. Now y'all get ready to write some stuff down because that is a God word. That is a God term. Omnipotent, which means all powerful. God is all powerful. But in his recitation, he used the word by meaning you are in control. You have the power to say no. You have the power to make up your mind and to either go to the left or to right. So omnipotent means God is all powerful. And also, there's another word that you need to know is omniscient. When it comes to knowing who God is, omniscience. Omniscience. Omniscience, and you spell it Omniscience. It means God is what? All-knowing. You don't have to pray and say, God, go over there because this is that and this is going on. No, you don't. God already knows that. God knows your thoughts before you even think it. God is all-knowing. He knows everything. He knows what you're going on in your mind with somebody 1,000,000 miles on the other side of the world going on in their mind because God is knowing. There ain't nothing that God don't know. He already knows about it. Before it happened, God knows about it. He's all-knowing. He is omniscience. And God is also omnipresence. Omnipresence is another God term. And it is spelled OMNI. PRSENCE. Omnipresence, which means God is everywhere at the same time. My. What a God. He's everywhere at the same time. God is everywhere at the same. He's the beginning and the ending. He's in the middle. He is outside of our time because he's in eternity. He walks eternity. We are limited by time. God is unlimited because he's everywhere. He's in the past. He's in the present. He is what's to come in the future. God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and he is omniscient, all-knowing. Let's put some scriptures up on the board for the day. Let's put some scriptures up on the board today because, see, we live in a society where we got quitters, that not willing to go the distance. We got quitters that are willing to just at a drop of a hat to let something go and to just give up. I want to encourage you today. Refuse the urge to quit. I started cleaning my garage, and my wife knows that when I start on my garage, sometimes she'll try to stop me before I get started. And the only reason why, because she knows I'm not going to quit till it's finished. Well, and not only that, she think I be throwing stuff away. But the thing about it is, my wife knows that when I start on a project, I'm going to see it through to the end. If I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go get that degree. I'm not going to have an incomplete. I'm going to finish my course. Put up on Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. And the scripture says, the race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned. But time and chance happens to them all. Basically, what Solomon is saying, the writer of Ecclesiastes says, the race is not to the swift, but to him who's willing to endure to the end. Let me just say this to you right today, and I hope I touch your nerve. Yes. But until you have until you have the taste of finishing something, you will never respect yourself. There are just folk that will quit just because the going gets rough, and that urge to quit because of obstacles. I want to let you know today, God allowed those obstacles to come. God allows those troubles to come. He allows you to go through to lack so he can teach you how to manage your money. Because I refuse to go back to a place where I'm broke like a joke because I don't have no discipline in managing my money. And you're all stewards, and God holds us all accountable to how we manage money. And let me just tell you something right now. Stop asking God for stuff that you're not ready for. Why is he going to give you more money and you can't even handle what you got? Yeah. If you can't manage it, why would God want to give you more until you learn how to be good stewards over what you have? So until you have tasted finishing, it's nothing like finishing something. Finish your course on it, and you'll learn how to respect yourself. Nothing builds self-esteem and self-confidence like accomplishment. How many of you all got your degrees and stuff? How many of you went through college and got your degrees? That's a good feeling, right? How many of you all went through some kind of course of some type and got a scholarship or a title? Come on, let me see your hand. There you go. And you finished that course and you got a degree, you got a certificate, or you got a title. Did you notice how that felt when you finished it? They called you up. You were so proud. I finished my course. Until you follow through, until you've done something, follow through. Finish it until you've done something. Come hell or high water, through tears and through struggles and through pain. And you continue to fight, because life is a fight. And sometimes my heart goes out when I drive by and I see people on the streets with a sign, younger than me, stronger than me, looking better than me, better health than me, begging for some food and stuff. It's just they've refused to fight anymore. They've given up to fight. And they're just willing to just take whatever comes. And while I'm on it, that's on the side note, y'all need to be careful because some of them folks will hurt you.
Yes, they will.
You roll your window down and you want to give them something, they will knock you in your head and take your purse. So, just a word to the wise. You don't know who you out there trying to help. With my company, they gave it was against the, and to my understanding, it's against the law to give to these people. But you need to use wisdom, and you need to be very careful because people have been beat up and they've lost their cars and everything else. Because you just don't know what you're dealing with. But there are some struggles and there are some obstacles dependent on Him. I'm totally dependent on God. And sometimes stepping out by faith means you are stepping out, into the unknown. Letting go of all these things that we think we need to depend on. Let me tell you something. The only thing you'll make a way out of no way. How many of y'all know God will make a way? Won't He make a way? Come on, somebody. I've been there. You stepping out by faith. And you stepping out trusting and believing God. Let me tell you something right now. God will make a way when we let go of stuff that we're dependent on. But we got to get to the thing where we learn how to put up with stuff. How to have stick-to-itiveness. The Word of God says that love love what? Beareth all things. Man, let me tell you something. We have gotten to the place that we don't have the proper role models in our life, and so we don't really have the examples in our life so that we would have a standard or a reference point to go by. You know, that's why it's so important. And men, I'm telling you, we're going to be together this coming Saturday, and I hope you men are reading that book. How many of y'all reading your books?
Yes, my
And
husband.
we're gonna meet at the what's the name of the restaurant? We're gonna meet at Sausalito's on Nacogdoches. Huh? Okay, at 11 or 11:30, and we're gonna get together, and we're gonna talk about what we men are going to do.
Yes, come on.
Because let me tell you something right now. You a husband,
Yeah.
but you're acting like a little boy
Jesus.
being raised by your mama. We got a lot of little boys being taught and raised by mamas. You didn't marry your husband to raise a little boy.
I'm gonna try to tell you.
You married a husband. Everybody, just because you put a ring on your finger don't mean you know how to be a husband. Or a ring on your finger don't mean you know how to be a wife. You got to learn to be taught. And so part of our stewardship month, my wife and I, we are committed to talk about what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a wife, what it means, what is a family environment, and how should that family structure run. So we got to have the proper role models. But sometimes, I'm going to tell you right now, when there's no role model, it's hard to be what you cannot see. And that's why I'm very concerned about fatherless homes. You know, you can be a father in the home,
That's true.
but not be in the home.
That's true. That is so true.
Just because you're in the home don't mean you know what you're doing. James 1:12. Let's put that up there on the board. James 1:12. You know, about perseverance. We're talking about resisting the urge to quit. And we've had a lot of fathers that quit being fathers to their children. They just had an urge. Their things ain't going the way I want it. They're not doing what I say. Well, they're looking at what you do.
Yeah.
Why should they do what you say when they're looking at what you do? That's just a contradiction. And so they get an urge, and so they quit being fathers to their children. Or they quit being mothers to their children because they got an urge, you know, and to abandon their responsibility. God didn't call you. God did not call you to some man, but God called you to himself because you are serving him. Whatever you do in life, you do it how? As unto the Lord. You are doing things to please God. The Word of God says in James, blessed is a man who endures trials. We got to learn how to put up with stuff. Things are not going to always be easy. If God brought you to it, what? He's going to bring you through it, right? So if God brought you to this situation, he's trying to strengthen you.
Yes.
He's trying to build your spiritual muscles. He's trying to teach you how to endure, how to put up with stuff, how to bear things, and you know how to go when it's hard on you. A lot of folk come up the hard way, and they work hard, and they put up with stuff, and now they're in a place where they can take it easy. You know, stuff that comes to you easy come, what? It is easy go.
Yeah.
See, whenever you have stuff put to you on a silver spoon, you know, you don't know how to appreciate things.
That's right.
So he said, blessed, happy is the man who endures trials. You're going through a trial, or you getting ready to make a decision, and it's going to be a test. It's going to be a test of your faith. And you gotta trust God and step out and endure the unknown, because when he passes the test, look at your neighbor and say, pass the test. All you got to understand is just the test. It's just the test. And why? Because God is our school teacher. God is our Holy Spirit is our schoolmaster to teach us into all truths. Because when he passes a test, he will receive the crown of life that he has promised to those who love him. So there's a blessing on the other side of your comfort zone. Never get comfortable in a situation where it is not pleasing to God. Victory, breakthrough is on the other side of your comfort zone. It's on the other side of fear. So we've got to learn how to endure hardship, endure the test.
Yes.
Some people quit because things are out of control. You know, a lot of times when things get out of control, here comes that urge. The car is breaking down, or this is not happening right, or they're cutting my hours, or they're not acting right, and so they get this urge to just leave and abandon their position. But I'm here to tell you, refuse the urge to quit, because God is trying to teach you something. And troubles, God uses trials, God uses hardships to strengthen us and to teach us things. But so oftentimes we want to quit.
Yeah.
And the moment you get to a place when you're not having your way, or you get reprimanded, or you get corrected, or you got to go through this, or you're going to go through that, or you go through this bad situation, bad circumstance, the first thing the immature Christian want to do, this is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not getting my way. Let me tell you something. This ain't Burger King.
Oh my.
You can't have it your way all the time. If it ain't going your way, maybe it's not supposed to go. It's not supposed to go your way. It's supposed to go God's way. Not, Jesus says, not my way, not my will, but thy will be done. But we want to make sure when things don't go our way, we want to quit. That's the immature mind. We just want to lay everything down. Now, I've had some challenges in my life, and I want to be a little transparent this morning. How many of y'all know, many of y'all don't know, but starting a church is more than a notion. Let me tell you that right now. Because you got to deal with a lot of issues, and you got to deal with a lot of personalities. And one of the things my wife and I learned that if we can't take it, then we can't give everybody. We have to learn how to adjust to every kinds of personalities. And sometimes, when you're trying to make adjustments, some people say things and do things to you, and they do it to you on purpose to try to hurt you.
Yes.
And sometimes I've had to step in the way and say, you know what, I'm not gonna, and that's what I am to my wife. I'm her cover.
That's right.
I'm her protector. And when I have to step in and say, you know what, you ain't going through this no more, I'm stopping it right now. Because there has been time that, we've really been hurt by church folk. We've been lied on, we've been made promise to, and we've been betrayed. I'm going to tell you, the list goes on and on. But it's more than it when you're trying to do the church. And see, when we first started the church, we didn't have the support. Most churches, when you step out and you begin to start your own church, you're supported by your parent church. And they'll send you out, and they'll send maybe 5 people with you who are tithers, and then you find your place, and then y'all will begin to work and you begin to build. But see, my wife and I, we didn't have all of that. We had to start on our own, and we used our own paychecks, our own money for a long time. Had to leave our own home, put it up for rent, then go find a park. Let me tell you something right now. The urge to quit came on me and my wife a lot of times. I'm I'm tell you that right now because we were going, we didn't know that we were giving. We thought we were losing, but we were really giving and gaining. We didn't see it because my wife and I, we are givers.
Yes.
And so we kept giving of ourselves, we kept giving of our time, we kept giving of our money. But don't think the devil didn't tell us, you know what, you losing here. Ain't nothing happening. And don't think, because my wife said it one time, did we miss God on this? Did we, are we sure that we heard from God on this? And so the urge to quit came up a lot of times. And so we started with just me, my wife, and my daughter Tammy, and my niece Melissa. And when we started, it was just the four of us. And I would come to us. We started in my living room, and we put up the chairs, we put up the music box, and we had prayer. We sung some songs, and then when we were blessed, and we got into an apartment, and they had a recreation room. We would go in there, and then I would put up 50 chairs for 4 people. I would put up 50 chairs. Yeah, come on, somebody. I was working that faith. Faith without works is what? Faith without, look, I saw 50. I put up 50. My wife said, honey, do we got to put up chairs? And I was putting them up, and she complaining because I'm putting them up. So I was putting up 50 chairs because I believe God. And then we start music, just the 4 of us, and all of a sudden, a family walks in. All of a sudden, 1 or 2 came in, and all of a sudden this one came. But we kept being faithful. But it stayed like that for a long time. But don't think the urge to quit didn't come up, especially when the money got tight. We had to make a payment we had our rent to deal with, our car payments to deal with. Then I had 4 kids, supposed to have been gone, coming to me asking for money. Where's your husband at? And anyway, and so we were still trying to help our children. We were trying to help our grandchildren. And it was difficult. And we trying to run a church. And see, here's what really hurt me. Can I be real?
Come on. Yeah.
I'm just gonna be real. I'm already out there. I'm already out there. And so I've got family. I thought that once we started this church, we got family members all over this city who are making big money. And they're in big churches that don't really need their help. So I thought that once we started this, you see what happened when you think. I thought that once we would step out in this thing, that all my family members would come. Let me tell y'all something about my family. If my family who's up in the city would be in this church, we would start building that building right out there on that wall. Come on, somebody. Huh? Come on. Look, I'm just being real. And I really thought my family would be a support system. But I thank God my mom and my daddy is here. Come on, somebody. My mama and my daddy is here. And I thank God my sister and my brother-in-law is here. And let me just step out a little bit further. I do thank God for my family members who are out there. They pray for me, and they love me, and I appreciate them. I love them too, and they love me. I know they love me. But I thought that I would have that support system, and it didn't show up. It just didn't happen. But it wasn't until things were happening and God started providing that I learned that my family members who are not here is not my source. I learned that God is my source. And it was until then that something clicked. Because I'm telling y'all right now, I had the urge to quit. I was hurt. I'm not lying. I'm telling you right now, I was hurt. I ain't lying. I was hurt, and because I got family, big money making family members, and my wife got big money making family members, and it was disappointing. My wife even called me crying a couple times, and. Honey, come on up here. You want to talk? Come on up here. You're going to have your say anyway. Come on up here. Because we being transparent. We want to talk about how, it's really how we both had to fight the urge. We had to refuse the urge to quit. And basically, this is our story. Because I couldn't have done it without my wife, without my helpmate. Because I needed her like she needed me. And we had each other. That's all we really needed, Jesus, right? Honey, what were you going to say?
I'm just gonna say the people that came. And
Come on up here. This is our story.
The people that came are the ones supposed to be here.
Come on.
And family that didn't come wasn't supposed to be here. It's not ordained for them to be here. But we thought they would come. Or you did. I didn't pull up my immediate family. They were in their own churches, and that was fine. They were doing what God wanted them to do. But I remember having to tell you, honey, you have to accept that they are where they belong, and God will bring whom He wants to be here. And we just have to accept God's will. But yeah, you expect certain family and friends to come, but I believe the Lord allowed them not to come or to come and leave so that we would learn that who our source is.
All right.
We had to learn. We had to learn that. You need to learn that ain't no man, ain't nobody is your source but God. And if nothing that you don't get from me and my wife today, know this: God is your source. We had to learn it the hard way.
Knowing, we knew that God was our source, but walking it out.
Yeah.
Walking that out. We knew the word. We knew God would provide, else we wouldn't have started it. It was an act of faith. Because He's right. Some churches will send people out and then they support them. And we love our pastors and they love us and we still support them and they support us. But we had to go tell them, God has called us to go do this. So we weren't sent. We just obeyed God. And wow. And I remember, Pastor, you remember you went to, well, I won't name the church, but anyway, we went to a seminar at a big church in the city, and they offered us to become pastors through their church. This is when we had already left New Life and was believing God that He had called us. And they said, well, you know what? Come with us, and we'll put you up. They were going to give us the building. They were going to give us the musicians. Wow. They were going to put them on salary.
They saw potential in both of us.
It was a stipend. And we had gone through some kind of seminar training, and after they found out our giftings, they said, y'all supposed to be leaders. Y'all supposed to be, not sitting in the background. Y'all supposed to be teaching and preaching and leading people to the Lord. And Dr. Philip Williams, called us in the office and said, we can start you right here if you want to.
That's what community Bible, y'all. We would have been under community Bibles.
But they've got 1,000 churches all over the city, I believe. And very, very instrumental in us hearing and confirming what God had said to us. But you said not so because that's not what was in your heart. The Lord didn't.
No, I only said not so when the guy said, we just going to give you to lay everything out for you. It's a no-brainer. When he said that turned me off. I got brains. Yeah, that more than the money they offered us, more than setting us up. The thing that I was praying that the Lord would lead me. And sometimes when you're asking God to lead you, you have to be sensitive enough in the spirit to pay attention to what is being said and to what is not being said. And you've got to pay attention and be alert to a lot of things to really allow God to reveal some stuff to you. Because God don't want you to walk in ignorance and darkness. Because He's our light. And so when He said, because I was, the money.
Yeah, they were going to.
But when He said no brainer, I said, that ain't God. That ain't God.
We would have been working under that. The understanding was that we would still be part of that church. It wouldn't be our church. We'd be an extension of Community Bible. But thank God, because look at you. Look
Look at you. Come on, somebody. Give yourself a
Thank
hand. Because y'all heard from God, because you are where you are being. You know, you need to be where you are being fed. You know, you'll never rise above the level of the knowledge of your shepherd. If they are just not, if they are ignorant and they don't have practical walking experience with Jesus, you'll never rise beyond it. But I'm always putting pressure on y'all. And I'm always studying myself so that once I've poured out, that I have to do things so that me and my wife can be filled back in to remain feeding you guys. And so it's important. But the thing that, you know, I'm all out here, all out of my notes and everything. So, honey, you're going to preach next Sunday, but I'm going to come back and deal with this refuse to quit part 2. But the thing that we did, you know, and let me just encourage you. If you know, we got a lot of entrepreneurs in this house. We got a lot, man. I'm telling you, we got. Look, there are people in here that got so much talent and that got so much gifting in from God. Let me get on a side note. Until you get to the place where you stop working a job, you'll never be blessed to reap from the benefits of the work that God gave you.
Amen.
If you keep doing a job, you'll never be blessed to reap the rewards of the work that God gave you. Your work is what God has imparted in you. Your job is what you do. Your job is your employment. Your work is your deployment. And until you start stepping out doing what God told you, you'll never be satisfied in a job. Because you'll always be saying, it's got to be something more. How many of y'all have said that? It's got to be something more.
Yes.
But sometimes my wife and I had to learn, we like Paul says, I kept the faith. I fought the good fight. I finished my course. See, you got to finish your course. You can't finish somebody else's course. You got to finish your course. And one thing I learned about people who are working their course, they know how to mind their own business. You know, that's something about when you work in your course, you ain't got time for somebody else's business. Only nosy people who ain't minding their own business want to get into your business because they're not doing their course. Be careful of those kinds of people that want to mind your business and not minding their business. But me and my wife, we kept the faith. We kept the good fight. And we finished our course. It was hard,
We
huh?
ain't finished yet.
And we're not through
The
yet.
first that we finished is we started, and when it looked rocky, what on earth have we done? Maybe we made a mistake. We didn't quit. But one thing that we didn't even realize it. I think it's coming up. When's the 22nd? Wednesday.
Yeah, next week.
Wednesday, February 22nd.
Friday.
10 years, everybody.
Friday.
10 years, come on.
We didn't plan an anniversary, but I figured it out the other day. I said, honey, how did we let this happen? Do you know it's been 10 years? It's been 10 years since that morning, January 16th.
Yes, there it is.
Well, we have 2 anniversary dates. January 16th was the day that you woke me up and said, honey, we starting today. No warning. Elder Ethel woke me up about 6 o'clock in the morning. Honey, get up. We're going to start today. What are we starting today? The church. Come on, we're going to start today. I'm like, okay. He said, get up. You're going to do the devotion. Come up with a little devotion. I got the sermon. Tammy, you come up with a song. I don't know if Tammy came over or if she spent the night with us. The grandchildren, Demarion was there, I think, and Isaiah. And that was on the 16th. We started in our living room that day. But then later, when we moved out of our house and went into the apartment so we could use their... And I told my husband, who moves out? Who does this? But God said so. So he said, we're missionaries in San Antonio. We put our house up for rent to move into an apartment. And I said, who goes from a house to an apartment, honey? He said, we do. And so we can use the room, where we had church. There at I can't even remember the name of the apartments. But that was on February 22nd. So that was the true beginning. We had a reception where we announced that we were coming out. We unveiled the name of the church, the Clarion Call Christian Center. And we started officially that day, and that was February 22nd. 10 years ago. We're 10 years old, gang. We're 10 years old. And you know what? Those of you that are here, you belong here. Those that have come and go, well, they came, and then whatever reason they came and left, they're on God's path. Those that belong can't leave.
That's right.
Those that don't belong have to go. And remember, Connie told us we're a hospital. Some gonna come in and some gonna go out. Sometimes we're in an emergency room, honey. And so they just come in. When you go to the emergency room, you don't stay unless they admit you, right?
Yeah.
Then when they admit you, you only stay for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're so thankful for all of you who have come. You stood. You haven't quit on us. And we promise that we will not quit on you.
I'm not going to do it.
We're not going to quit on you. Even if you quit on us, we're not going to
quit on you.
That's right.
So I want to just close out, and I want to just tell you this. Fight the good fight of faith.
Yes.
Fight, trust God. No matter how it may look, how dark it may get, take the leap of faith and trust God. And God, when God brings you to the cliff and you're about to step off into the unknown, God will do one of two things. God will provide a way for you to walk over the cliff, or God will teach you how to fly. But God will never leave you nor forsake you. He didn't do it for me and my wife, and He sure won't do it for you. So refuse to quit. Refuse to quit. Look at somebody. I'm not a quitter. Say it again. I'm not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. Say it again. I'm not a quitter. Say it again. I'm not a quitter. Tell somebody, don't you quit.
Don't you quit.
Don't you quit.
Don't you quit.
Don't quit on your hopes and your dreams. Don't you quit on your goals. Don't you quit on the promises that God gave you. God gave you a promise. God gave you a promise, and don't you quit on God.
Amen.
And don't you quit on His promises. Because the Word of God says God is faithful. All the promises of God, all the promises of God are what? Yea and amen. Amen. Don't quit. Come on, y'all. Let's stand. Let's get ready to go home.